I mean, they can't put bad software at the Apple Store then, right? That's what that means. Alright guys, hopefully that's good enough. Better open this a little. So, cops. I gotta go to the cops soon, but I gotta get these tests done. I found out that for $500 you can go to a doctor, then another $200. So that's $700 that I don't have right now to get an arsenic hair test, which is good for like a year. Which if I would have just done that right away, this whole situation would have been different. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. I don't know if I'm probably gonna leave them up. It might be a little controversial, the first videos, but it doesn't matter to me. People that really know me for the last like 20 years know there isn't like a racist bone in my body. Like, you know, I don't really believe that anyone of any sort is better than, you know, than anyone else, and that's just a fact. But it doesn't mean that yeah, I'll just end it there. So I'm gonna absolutely do whatever I can to get this test, pick up a quick part-time job, whatever I can. I have to get this test. I need these like positive tests to come through. That'll help with any police investigation. And it's also going to be this huge malpractice suit, because if it can show that I've had on, and then I'll get more tests, like, so they can maybe pinpoint. But for you to test positive, you have to be subjected to like a lot of arsenic. So a hair test might show a very tiny bit that we all have in us from whatever. I mean, I smoke, but it collects it, like I said, 200 or 300 times more than, say, like a urine test. And what I found out is the reason why it's so hard to test in blood and urine is that arsenic immediately, well, I'm feeling something in the car, immediately goes into your tissue, and then you won't test it in your blood. So it's not that it's going anywhere, it's going right into your tissue of your body, and it's sitting there. And it also goes into the hair follicles and the nails. So, you know, I go and I get tested positive in my hair, and I've been to the hospital 4 times asking to get tested, and they wouldn't do it. I've been to the cops like 5-6 times telling them I'm being poisoned with arsenic. I happen to know what it is, and they do nothing about it. That's a fucking lawsuit. Now, if I'm dead and gone, hopefully my family or someone else can benefit from it. Hopefully they're able to get chelation, and, you know, once they realize that it's happening to me, they're going to realize it's happening to them. My dad can get tested for it. I'm not sure my mom will be able to. Oh, her nails, right? And that's a huge malpractice. If someone goes into the hospital, especially in Canada where, you know, I pay for taxes and benefits for it, if you say, look, I think I'm being poisoned with arsenic, and they go, we don't do that here. Or out of like 5 doctors that I've seen, all these police officers, not one of them said, you know, you should go for a hair follicle test. Like, you're telling me no doctors know that that's how you're supposed to test for heavy metals? Like, that's like probably the best way to test for it. And now it's not covered here, but like, that is fucking malpractice. And there's a whole history. Like, even those like corrupt doctors I went to see in Richmond, the woman with short hair, that really good looking dude, to mental health doctors. I mean, I asked this Dr. Shabbatz, and he's like, no, we're not going to do that, you know, because he works for these guys. He knows I'm being poisoned with it. I'm going to test positive for it, right? So that's a huge malpractice. Like, if a patient comes in and asks for something, you know, you're generally supposed to do it, you know. It doesn't matter what they wrote on the computers, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's something that like happened 4 or 5 times over and over the last 2 years. So that happened at Fraser Health, that happened at what's the other one, Coastal Health. Like, these are $1 million lawsuits. This is fucking unbelievable, and I'm mad at myself for not figuring it out, because I don't think it's rocket science to figure that out. And yeah, I mean, I've just been overwhelmed by the situation. Think about, for 2 years, people hacking constantly, fucking poisoning your car, getting into your car, getting into your house, fucking harassing you. Everywhere you go to the Apple Store, and they compromise your devices. Like, it's a motherfucker, you know. these guys have set up. Then you're talking about like gas station, like everything that I've been talking about, right? So that's like, it's hard to get away from going to a gas station when you have a car. And then you're talking about electric cars, like Elon Musk, they use like 20 or 30 Teslas. I don't think Elon wants fucking them using them doing that shit. I don't think it's like really, it doesn't, it's just a car. But I think at a certain point someone might care that someone's using their cars for these nefarious and these fucking terrible fucking things, to poison people and hack people in Canada and Washington State. I don't know if they hack anyone in Washington State, but that's just like, they're just covering the distance that you generally would travel, So these tests are number one. If I got to get a part-time job real quick, I can't keep asking my family to pay for stuff. But this is like prudent for me to get this test, and I'm actually kind of upset how much it costs. I'll try and talk to them. I'll try and explain the situation to these places, and maybe they'll feel sorry for me, right? Because the test apparently is only $150, $200. I could run there today and get it done, right? But if they want $500 for a consultation, like, it's like, all I need is this test. All I gotta do is come in, shave the fucking hair off my leg, fucking pubic hair, because I shave my head, whatever it is, and test it for heavy metals. That's it. If these recent tests in the next couple days come out positive, which I don't know if they have people in the labs, right? This guy talked about specific places. Like, they said one of them has to go to Children's Hospital. And I remember him saying this test goes to Children's Hospital, so that must be the one he's talking about. I'm not sure which one it is that goes to Children's Hospital. But obviously these guys poison people with heavy metals, arsenic. They've looked into, well, okay, what's a person going to do? They're going to go to the hospital to get tested. They're going to go to their family doctor, Life Labs. Then I'm sure they know about the hair test, but I don't think many people know what to test for. Like, I don't think they know necessarily they're being poisoned with heavy metals, right? They might just know they're not feeling well. And I'll give you an example of that. That Leslie Weldon guy's bipolar, he said. And that Dollywall guy said, because like he literally has a valve from his compressor just pumping it in the shop when they, I guess his only job is like, they pound it out on that fucking jobs app so that people will go work there and they'll just poison you a bit and just, I don't even know what the purpose is of having this guy, but it just seems like they get into all the businesses. This guy's heavy into unions, so when you're talking about a shop that manages oil wells and you talk about a really small town like that, they're just getting into all the businesses they can. And as soon as someone's hard up for money, they'll get a bank loan and say, okay, well, sometimes you just need to have an employee come through and poison. So one of the things he said, that the other guy asked him, this was like the Brusetto guy, the IRS agent, he's like, so they just poison themselves? And he's like, yeah, the guy just kind of thinks it's like energy. So I think when you have bipolar, you don't really, like, when you get a little bit of, you don't necessarily feel like instantly sick. I think it's like a long-acting thing, and eventually you get really sick, which I think you guys are going to see in these videos. Eventually I'm going to get really sick. And I was really sick last week from, I believe, that dentist appointment I went to. I think it's the water. I think he just shot a shit ton of, oh dude, where am I going? Fuck, I missed the highway exit. I'm so stupid. How do I get back? Fuck, how did I miss this highway exit? I literally just got to turn right around. Shit, I'm not sure if I'm going to post this video. I really don't want to say too much about my roommate, but he talked about these incense, and she burns these incense that just fucking reek. Like, I don't know, they're called dragon something, but they're the worst I've ever and they did talk about someone with incense, and if you think it's hard to tell if they've poisoned a cigarette, imagine dipping or spraying an incense in arsenic and having it burn. You're never going to be able to tell, except I can fucking tell because I can instantly start like smelling it, and like it's just fucking awful, and you can get a little feeling from it. But it's like this guy said, like people with like schizophrenia or bipolar or whatever, they don't really get the same feeling as other people get from it. And this is another thing. Professional, dude. This is the worst, dude. I'm so fucking off my path. This is something probably a very few professional doctors, maybe a very specialized doctor would be able to tell you, because it seems like doctors don't even know to test your hair follicles for arsenic. Like, how is that even possible? How did one of those doctors not say, you can pay a couple $100 and go get tested? I would have done it 2 fucking years ago. I would have popped for it. I would have started a police investigation. How can the police deny someone that's testing positive for arsenic that says someone's hacking and poisoning them? They wouldn't have been able to. It wouldn't have been able to go the way it did. So a professional doctor probably will tell you that the effects of arsenic might act a little different on people that have certain, I don't want to say mental disorders, but, I'm no doctor, guys. So whatever it is, whatever the fuck it is. And I'll tell you another thing about, oh shit, I'm going the wrong way on the street now. Dude, these guys gotta stop. Dude, you gotta stop, bro. There's a truck coming too. Holy shit, I went the wrong way. Dude, this is so fucked. How do I get back onto the fucking highway? Guys, don't stream and drive. It's probably illegal in Canada. I really don't know. But now I have no idea how to get back on the fucking highway. There's like only one way to go here, it seems. It's like Seattle. If anyone's ever been to Seattle, it's like triangles. Once you go the wrong way, it's impossible to get back to where you're going. Like the way they've designed that city is. I remember I had a friend, Mark. He drove all the way down there with his girlfriend. This is a long time ago. And I think it was nighttime, and he got into Seattle, and it was like he went down like a couple wrong streets. So Seattle's about 3 hours from us, 2.5 if you drive fast. Went down a few streets, got turned around a few times, couldn't get back to probably the hotel he was going to, and he just was like, fuck it, and drove home. What's this here? Okay, I gotta go. I know where I am. I gotta go around the theater. Why don't I Google? I better put this in my phone right now. Going to Chilliwack to visit my parents. So. Why did she call? Dude, I wonder if I forgot to leave that one cigarette. I think I was supposed to leave her one cigarette. I don't know why she gave me her, like, last $10. She could have just, well, I guess $10 isn't enough for cigarettes. I'm going out to Chilliwack, and I'm getting smokes from her dad. And, I think I gave her a cigarette. But, like, I might not be back. Oh, dude, there's a Rogers store here. Shit. They don't have people at every Rogers store. And unfortunately, it's Rogers I'm dealing with. I was Bell for years. I literally, like, contacted Bell and explained what happened. I explained you have an employees that... Oh, okay, I'll explain it in a second. They don't have people at every Rogers store, but it's... Okay, fuck. I need to know where I'm going first here.
Starting route to Chilliwack.
Okay.
Head southwest onto First Street. Then take the first right onto 80.
Yeah, I could try going in that Rogers store. I've never been in it. It's not like I've been to all these stores, guys. I'm not saying every single employee. So a lot of the stores that aren't corporate, and then they have a few employees at corporate stores, and then specifically in certain cities like Richmond, Surrey, Vancouver, Chilliwack. I mean, I've been to like most of the Staples ones that I don't know if they just do Bell, but every single one of the Staples I've been to, corrupt employees that work at those like kiosks in the mall. It seems like if you look at the owners that have probably bought all these non-Rogers stores, I'm assuming they've bought them up. I mean, if these guys are buying Shoppers Drug Marts and potentially like managers of gas stations and 7-Elevens. Well, fuck me, they're buying these small little Rogers kiosks and like, you know, just start looking at who owns these places, you know. I think if you went to Calgary, it would be way less. Like, they have very few in like they go to Calgary, maybe a few small towns in Alberta. I'm not sure about Manitoba, but you're not going to have like 80% of the stores have corrupt employees in it, right? But here's the problem. I can't just go start an account because they know my name. I'd have to falsify for sure a little bit of information. Like, they would know the postal code on IDs or any place that I live right now. So I would need an employee able to do that, or start even pay as you go, so I'm gonna have to travel to get a phone number at this point. And then I'm gonna put long distance, like, I can only do so much, guys. I'm gonna put long distance on my phone so I can call some of these companies and at least start some claims with them. At least get some reports going. At least start documenting this. I'm going to try and get these tests done so I can get chelation, and then I think I need these tests to go to the police. I don't think if I start popping these tests positive, which hopefully I pop the ones recent, or hopefully I don't, but then I just, you know, that's a malpractice for the police. This is already going to be malpractice for the police, but they're going to have to prove and investigate these officers that I'm telling you about and find some sort of proof, because like I said, they don't wear body cams. I'm hoping this investigation makes it so that all RCMP officers need to wear body cams across Canada, so this is impossible for them to do. Like I said, that's probably my number 2 goal. Number one's to take down the network. Number one's to survive. Number one's to take down the network. Number 3 is to get cops to wear body cams, have all these cops fired, Apple employees, all the corrupt places, have all these gas stations, Rogers, Bell, overhaul their stores, investigate. I mean, these companies don't investigate themselves. You know, they put precautions in, so you can start looking at what Apple has done. So I realized, I did a bunch of research last night, and I realized with private addresses, so that's not your hardware address on your devices, that's different on every network. And then you can do, I think, what's called rotating MAC addresses. So there is a lot of security with Apple, and the fact that Apple's done this is that they understand, like, obviously they understand, it's fucking Apple. They have like probably some of the best software engineers in the world, right? So they know exactly what MAC addresses do and don't do, and what hackers can do, and what makes you safe and not safe. And then a software person will be able to talk to you, which is even more complicated, is routers and modems. Because what these guys are doing is, you can set up your computer as like the main modem. So it's supposed to be for security. It's called, you can't necessarily, like some routers I think you can change the MAC address on, but most you can't. But what you can do is, instead of having the modem as your primary controller of, like, I don't know if it's controller MAC address or exactly, but you can make your computer the controller of it. And then you can make something called white. There's so many things. I'm gonna have to just show you guys the page, but you can make it so that only specific MAC addresses can log onto your account, which I guess if they can spoof those MAC addresses, they might still be able to. But there's about 10 or 15 things you can generally do with a modem that will secure you, including, like, so you need administrative. I was just saying her dad's expecting me. I think I gave her the smoke. Administrative, so you get administrative control, and you make it so that the traffic of the router, I think, goes through your computer, and that's what these guys are doing. So they'll get the home internet password, they'll get into the administrative access, and then the fact that they're your neighbor, they can use their computer as, I want to say it's the gateway. But what I did was I looked at this awesome website that explained everything. I understood about 35% of it, probably 40% of it, which is pretty educational. I'll be going through this website with you guys. It was amazing, and if I would have learned this 2 years ago, I would have been fine, and I don't want to keep shitting on my brother, but god damn it, he knows a fair amount, but he doesn't know enough to keep a fucking Russian hacker out of your computer and your fucking internet. So changing the password would have helped, right? But that doesn't mean these guys wouldn't have gotten into the modem still at my house. The main thing is when they find out where you live, and if they find out the MAC address of your it's already starting. And there's about, even on the site, it specifically said this is a Russian hacking tool of how they do it. And I can't make this shit up, guys. I'm telling you, the Russian and Chinese government either buying these identities, or a Ukrainian fucking gangster, Chinese gangsters are funding this. What are they doing with all these identities? I really don't, I'm not them, right? But they ain't doing it for free. This is a network that's making money. And how are they making money? And who are they? Now, I'll emphasize I don't probably know most of the major players. I know a couple of people to point fingers at, which for all I know are even smaller, a smaller part of this. I'm going to say Johnny Fong's got to be one of the main guys, I have to say that. That's what I think. It just doesn't add up about the Richmond Hospital, and there's no one else funding millions, and there's no one else funding the Richmond mayor. How do they have the Richmond fire chief? I mean, you don't have the Richmond fire chief without funding the politics in Richmond, who got to that guy? I don't know. Investigate him. He said they had the one inspector, right? And then the Phoenix Restoration, right? So who's paying these guys, So I'll have to make a video all on exactly how modems work. I don't know how fucking good that'll be, but that's something everyone should understand. In Vancouver, at least. I don't know about anywhere else if it matters, I'm sure this exists other places, but right now in Vancouver, this is like a pandemic. This is an epic-fucking-demic of personal information, fraud, identity theft, so the other thing is I'm thinking, I'm making a lot of these videos getting just a lot of this information out, just talking straight to the camera. So going to the stores and showing you all these people, that's another step of this. But if I want to make this go viral, I need to make some very concise, shorter videos, just basically saying, look, in Vancouver, there is an identity theft ring. There is the biggest fraud criminal organization operating right now that's poisoning people. Right up, just straight to the point. And then that's when, if I tweet out to people, or when someone comes to my page, they just see, a minute or two of just how professional independent journalism, like Jimmy Dore, and I'm gonna use We Are Change. It's funny, a month ago I saw We Are Change post a tweet that someone tweeted at him, and he kind of made a comment of is this guy real or is he crazy? And then I've posted some tweets to him, so I'm basically the guy he just tweet. It wasn't about me, it was about someone else. But I can just imagine when you tweet something I'm saying to so he's probably looking at so everybody's probably looking at me crazy. But the fact is, this is fucking as real as it gets. It's going to be proven. There's no way this isn't going to be proven. I'm going to end up proving this, and I fucking hate that I have to. I'm fucking pissed that I have to. I shouldn't be the one doing this, I shouldn't be the one that's potentially going to die because of this, you know what I'm saying? This could have got handled by the police a long time ago, proper doctors. I probably wouldn't have needed chelation. I probably would have survived. I wouldn't have been poisoned for 2 years. If you look up arsenic, you can be poisoned very slowly for a long time before you get really fucking sick. And how long do I have? I must be a fucking tank at this point. We're talking 2 years of being poisoned with arsenic. I'm a fucking tank. And you know what's going to happen to a tank? It's just going to fucking fall apart. It's going to get hit by a fucking mortar and just fucking fall apart one day. And that might happen in the next month or two. So it's almost Halloween right now. So, This is about a week or two of filming right now. And like I said, all I do is smoke. There's no way I'm like riddled with cancer right now. And even as a smoker, it's not like all of a sudden I'm just gonna be riddled with cancer and die in a month or two, you know what I mean? When I saw them kill those people at Knight Street, they fucking went fast. They poisoned this poor old couple and they died real quick. You know, and they don't even know what happened. They don't even know what happened. Unfortunately, it's a sad story, you know. This is a sad fucking story, guys. You know, it's not gonna end well for me. And if it ends well for them, then fuck me, I'm gonna be pissed, right? So I need to think of how to get my story out so people listen. So I'm coming pretty close. To, you know, there's a lot more information, a lot more people, a lot more that has happened in these 2 years, but I'm pretty close to, you know, at least getting all the information out. I'm starting to repeat myself a bit, right? And I really don't want to edit videos. I don't want this to seem like I'm trying to put, you know, you watch a good documentary, and even though it does show the truth, and even though it is informative, the way it's edited, it is meant to play on your emotions. It is meant to swing you to the side because of the way it's edited and it's put together, and that's what documentaries do. You know, it's there generally could be a little bias in a way, you know. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but that's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to just edit the best of what I say so it has the most impact. I will try to make some concise videos to go viral, and then if people get invested enough, then, you know, or literally this is just documenting it for the investigation that I'm trying to get started in Canada. You know, when someone starts tweeting at the fucking RCMP, then, you know, you're either liable to fucking get locked up, picked up by them, or I want to get in a room and have this information spoken to on camera, on microphone, and put in their database. Because like I said, this is a sad story, and it's not going to end well for me, I don't think, you know. And I think I've come to terms with that, right? I think for a long time it's caused me a bit of anxiety, you know. But the amount of people that I've approached when it comes to health professionals, to police officers, to it's going to continue to happen. And the amount of people that don't help or don't take it serious, it's going to show a huge fracture in the system. It's going to show a problem with human nature. It's going to show a problem with the fucking whole police force of Canada. It's going to show a problem with the whole fucking hospital system in Canada. It's going to show a problem with... It's going to show a problem with and the major cell phone companies in Canada, the fucking gas stations in Canada, the 7-Elevens, McDonald's, Walmart. Who else? It's endless. Costco? Fucking Costco, dude. You know? And what I need is I just need one of these people to say, okay, you know what? This guy doesn't actually, like, seem crazy. He's just fucking saying something that's crazy. And when you say something that's, like, not in someone's, like, reality, it's like cognitive dissonance that I'm dealing with, right? So it's the same thing, like, if something doesn't line up with the pillars, you know, like we all have pillars, and if it starts to fracture those pillars of your reality, there's a guy I watched that explained it real fucking good. I was amazed at, like, the psychology of it, and it's bang on what cognitive dissonance is. Then it's kind of like fight or flight response, or you just kind of refuse to accept the reality that this is even a possibility, and your pillars stay strong. Now, if you let those pillars fracture and realize that maybe the reality around you, or maybe the reality that I'm telling you, is real, and you're incapable of breaking your pillars to realize that, that's what cognitive dissonance is. That's how I view cognitive dissonance. So, and that's what I'm dealing with. And I'm fortunate that I did meet a good doctor the other day. I mean, it doesn't mean he believes what I'm saying, but I don't necessarily need everyone just to believe everything I'm saying. I just need them to follow up and do these tests. I need to be able to go get this hair follicle test. I need the police to open up an investigation, and they're gonna find all the fucking evidence. I'm giving so much information about these guys that, I mean, I know investigations cost a lot of money. The dominoes will fall. They will absolutely fall. I mean, any competent, yeah, you can go, buddy. Yeah, go, buddy. Any competent task force, detectives, police officers, can easily break this case wide open if they take the information I'm saying serious. Because I'm giving specific names, where they work, specific companies, which companies, where they're located, individuals by name, by description. I'm explaining the products they're using. I'm explaining that you can test the car, you can test me. It's endless. It'd be a giant investigation, but it would be the easiest one to start proving. Absolutely the easiest. When you want to set up on someone that's, a drug dealer, that's going to be fucking harder, aside from getting in their phones and their information, which obviously they do. But this will be even easier than that. It's just the scope of it is so big. It would be like busting the whole fucking cartel at one time, you know what I mean, in a network, rather than just the guy sitting in his mansion that has runners, 10 of them that run around and sell drugs, right? It would be like busting a network. It's not nationwide, I think it's Western Canada. It would be like busting a network of drug dealers. So maybe mafia. Look at it like Rico, it reminds me of Rico case of the mafia, where they arrested 20, 30, 40 people at once after a year or two investigation. That's what